Welcome back to my channel. This is Nikki of Nikki's Homemade Crafts. Welcome back to part 3 of the Crochet Tips Mystery Crochet Along. Really excited. So we made this in part 2 and this in part 1. And then we also have these little rectangles right here, which is also part 2. So now we're going to use the multicolored yarn and then also optionally the DK yarn. So if you want to do that little feature, which I will show you at the very end, you're going to need some DK yarn for that. So let's get started with part 3. And we're going to start off right away with a new tip. So I'm going to bend my project here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to do what I did in the way beginning of part 2. Do you remember how I attached the yarn down here? Well, I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. So I'm going to go through, and you can see how we have like 2 loops here. Remember we did the invisible join? Well, we're going to go underneath the loop down here. So that way we're going to push that up and the front of it looks all the same. But we're going to put our loop onto our hook first. So that way we can do immediately a single crochet. So insert your hook through the very first stitch of the last round that you did underneath this loop right here. So just going to go underneath it. Make sure that's the same true on the back here. You can double check that it's the same. And yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through, and you made your single crochet. Now again, we're going to weave in our yarn here at the same time. So we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did with, well, my part is the beige color, right? The lighter color. So we're going to go around it and do the exact same amount. I know that may sound a little boring, but you're going to see in the end why we're doing this. So what you're going to do is you're going to do the exact same amount of rounds that you did for the lighter color for the multicolor. So I did 12 rounds over here. So you're going to do exactly the same thing. So 12 rounds over there. Now, if you did 8 rounds, then you're going to do 8 rounds with the multicolor. If you did the bigger project and you did 15 rounds, you're going to do 15 rounds with the multicolor. It needs to be even. Whatever amount you did here, you're going to do on the top. So let's do that. And remember, you have that slip stitch. You're doing it exactly the same way as you did over here. So we have a clean edge all the way around. Just the same amount of rounds and same amount of stitches, just with the multicolor. So let me snap right to it. And there we go. And then once you're done at the very end, you simply weave it in the way you did before. So you do the invisible join and then weave in your ends. So now what are we doing with this? Okay, so there's a few different things that you can do. And this is why I said there's an optional part to it, because it's really, really cool how you can use this in many different ways. Now it is a basket. Obviously, you probably figured that out, but there's more to it, okay? So first of all, you could add something here on the top now, and you can weave this through these holes. You don't need to add an additional row of some sort unless you want to. And then you can put maybe like a ribbon or something through, and that way you can close this up if you wanted to, and you can use it as like a little baggie or something. That's one way. Now, I don't use it that way. I use it in a reversible way. So let me show you what that means. So you fold this out, okay, and then you can just let it go like this. And there's 2 reasons why you can do this. So one, it's going to look like this, okay? So you have one side looks like this and the inside looks like that, okay? It provides stability of the sides of the basket. So that's another tip that I wanted to teach you with this, and that's why reversibility has a multi-purpose. So it provides stability to the basket, so it's like 2 layered, and you can do it the other way around as well. So now this is on the outside, right? And then now you can flip it inwards as well. And then you have the other side on the outside. And again, the stability is still there, right? So you just push this in a little bit, push it down on the sides, and there we go, right? So, and there you have still stability, and the baskets, it's beautiful on this side, and now you have the darker side or the multicolor on the inside. So that's how you can do the reversibility of this project. But there's a little bit more to it, and that is why we have those little tiny rectangles. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I actually have this on the outside while I'll do that. So that means the multicolor on the outside. So do that for me, please, if you wouldn't mind. So that way we can both do this at the same time. So, by the way, you could totally sew this on right here if you wanted to. And if you want even more stability, you can put a plastic canvas between these layers, and it provides a lot more stability and it doesn't move around. So there's multiple different things that you can do to provide more stability. Now, remember, this is also cotton. So if you put it in like a glue water mixture, 50% glue, 50% water, you're going to need a lot of it though, because this is a lot of yarn. You could totally soak this in and let it harden, and it'll be, rock solid and won't go anywhere. And it's really, really sturdy. But I like to have it a little bit more movable so I can do things with it. So let's talk about these little rectangles. So these little rectangles are actually pockets. So for one of the pockets, you're going to put it on the inside. So let's say right here, okay? So I'm just going to hold it for now. Not sure if it's visible. So you'll put it on the inside over here, okay? And then on the opposite side, but on the outside, you're going to put the other pocket. So you can, let me see if I can hold this proper. So there's one on the inside. I will sew that in a second. And then here's on the exact opposite side, right? But on the outside, you're going to sew this one on, okay? How are you going to sew this on? You're going to take your yarn and you're going to use these little nubs right here, okay, to sew this on. I'll show you in a second. And we're going to do it as a U shape. So that means the top is open, obviously, so that it's a pocket. And we're going to sew this part on, this part on, this part on, and then this part on. So let me show you on the outside because it's easier to see than the inside. But the inside is done exactly the same way. So you're going to hold this down however you want to do it, however it's more comfortable. And it doesn't have to be all the way down. I actually don't do it all the way down. So I'll do it roughly here. And now I'm going to use, and I use it as a guide, and it allows me to sew this on kind of invisibly. So you see how these horizontal bars, right? They're everywhere here. It's also a way to count your rows, by the way, by counting these horizontal bars. They're part of the backside of your single crochet. So I'm going to use them right now. I'm going to use them to sew this on. So I'm going to go through these, and then I'm going to go back through here. Like it can be the back side of it if you want, or all the way through. That is up to you. I'm just going to go on the back side of it and go downwards on these horizontal bars. And you can do more than that, okay? You can use more stitches. And then the back side here. And now work my way down all the way over and back up. And then I'll do the exact same thing on the inside. And you can see once I pull this here that it's smooth, and you can't really see that it was sewn on. Okay, so now let's do this all the way around. I'm going to snap away to it so that you can see both at the same time. Here we go. And there we go. So now the pockets are on. As you can see, they're on the opposite side of each other, but one is on the outside and one is on the inside. So why would we do that? Well, if you have it like this, you can use your pockets. But if you flip it inside out, and it looks like this, you literally are hiding your pockets. So it's not visible that there's pockets anywhere here. Yes, you can feel it if you touch it, but you can't see it. And you can't see it on this side or on this side. It's nowhere to be seen. And especially if you sewed it in the way I told you, by grabbing those horizontal loops. That way you didn't go all the way through, and therefore it's not visible that you added any pockets to this cute little basket. Now, I want to add one more little thing. So technically this is done now if you don't want to do the optional part of it. But if you want to do the optional part, I have one more little thing to add, and that makes it even cooler in my opinion. And yes, that's kind of also hidden. So we have some hidden features here, okay? So what does that actually mean? So grab your DK yarn if you want to add this optional feature to it. So as I said, I'm using this yarn right here, which is Mary Maxim Sunrise. I'm leaving a link down below. for any of the yarns or hooks or whatever I'm using. I'm leaving all the links below, as well as the written pattern. So if you're using the DK yarn now, you're going to go down in hook size. I have here my G 4mm hook and obviously the DK yarn. So I'm going to show you how to start it, and then I'm going to show you on the bigger basket how this actually looks like. Okay, so grab anywhere, it doesn't matter where, like you can start exactly at the same spot here, okay, where your seam is. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab here on the top. You see how there's all these horizontal loops again, right? The ones that we just used on the side, but we're using them now on the top. You're going to grab one of these, and it has to be roughly the same color, okay? So that way it's nicely hidden. So you're going to add your DK yarn to your hook. And now you're going to insert your hook, the 4mm hook, into one of these loops. You're going to pull through and yarn over and pull through. So you have your single crochet. And now we're going to go through the little loop here on the side again, the one that's closest to your yarn finger. Pull through, and you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through. So that is the alternative turning chain. So what we're doing right now is we're doing double crochet stitches, okay? You can weave this in as you go, but I'm actually going to do it later because this is 2 different yarns, so it's easier to weave this in later without it being shown, okay? So now we're going to add 1 more double crochet in the same stitch, and now you're going to the next one. So hop over to the next horizontal bar there and add the next double crochet, and then you're adding 2 double crochets per loop all the way around. So if you had 49 stitches all the way around, you will have double the amount of double crochet stitches now with this yarn, with the DK yarn. You're going to do this all the way around, and you're going to do as many rounds as you have the height. So that means this height. Okay, so you want to be able to bend this, okay? So that depends on which yarn you're using, right? So it needs to be the exact same distance. But remember, after you finish the first round, you're just going to do 1 stitch at a time, okay? You're just only doing 2 stitches here because we're going from bulky to DK. After the very first round, you're doing the slip stitch again, the way we've done the entire time, same slip stitch, and then just doing 1 stitch at a time, and then the height of this basket, okay? And when you're done, I'm going to show you here on the bigger basket, it's going to look like this, okay? So what you're going to do is you can do on the very last round here, or maybe second to last round, you can do a filet crochet type, okay? So that means instead of, this is all 1 stitch at a time, right? But then right here, I did 1 double crochet, chain 1, and skip 1. 1 double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and all the way around, and then 1 more row of just single crochet, okay? And then I wove this yarn, the one on the inside, I wove it through every other stitch. Can you see that? So I skipped here a stitch in between and I wove it through, and that way I can close it. So that is the special feature. So let me see if I can zoom out slightly so you can see it now, okay? So this folds inwards, so it hides now the inside pocket, and you can see here, this is the bigger basket, by the way, and this is the pocket here on the outside, and there is a pocket on the inside there, right here on the opposite side. So now this folds inward, so you can hide your inside pocket, right? But you can then also fold this outside inwards, and you can hide this part of it, okay? Now, if you want to use this, and the reason why I added the string to it is actually because I like using it for my crochet projects. So what does that mean? That means I can put something in here, and then I can pull here and close it up, so nobody sees anything or nothing falls out, right? So it's kind of keeps my project safe however I want to do it, right? And if I don't use it, of course, I can open this up, and then I can fold this inwards if I wanted to. You can even, as you have this here, if you wanted to, can add 1 more ribbing maybe all the way around here, and then you can even close it up on this way, right? If that's what you choose to do. So it's kind of a multi-purpose of many different ways and how you can use this basket. You can hide your pockets, as I said. You can use this extra feature to keep your things safe once they're in it. And the reason I use DK yarn instead of this is because it would have been too heavy. And this keeps it nice and it's light, so it won't bother you much. So this is the way it looks like as the bigger size. So let me show you. This is the bigger one, the one that went all the way up until 7 single crochets and then the increase. And then obviously the rounds were 15. So this is the height for 15. And then here I did 14 rounds in total with the DK yarn. The first one was 2 double crochets per stitch. Then everything else here in the center is 1 stitch per stitch. And up here I did 1 round of filet crochet and then 1 round of single crochet. That's 14 in total. So that is for the bigger one. So you obviously will have less if you do it on the smaller one. Just for size comparison, you can see that this is the smaller one, this is the bigger one. And of course, you can make it even bigger. You can make it even smaller if you wish. You can also see height difference. I don't know if you can actually see it. Height difference, right there. This is 12 rounds per color. This is 15. And then I added this on there and then I left it out on this one. So you can see really the difference between the two. And it is such a really cool and fun project. And I didn't want to just give you a straightforward pattern. I wanted to give you more than that. I wanted to give you lots and lots of tips throughout the pattern, regardless of which part it is. And of course, I wanted to give you the thought process behind it, why I did things the way I did as a designer. Because sometimes we kind of want to know that, right? I mean, I'm sure you're curious. It's like a behind the scenes kind of thing. I wanted to tell you why I did certain things and why you can change certain things and how you can change certain things to make it work for you. So you learned a lot of different ways in how you can increase certain things, how you can hide your seam, how you can have a straight seam and straight edge. You learned how to add a pocket without it shown on the inside. You learned how to make something more sturdy, whether it is a double layer or whether it's with a plastic canvas, right? So there's many different more ways in how you can make something more sturdy or more protective or for multiple different features. This is reversible, so that has that feature, but it also provides stability because it's double layered. In fact, this is 3 layers. This is 2 layers. So you learn lots and lots of tips here that can help you in the future. And if you make both baskets, you can even put one inside the other for storage purposes. So that's even better. Obviously, it's perfect for little projects or bigger projects. I absolutely love using this basket for multiple different things. And in fact, you can even use it for, flowers or something like that. If you have either a fake or real flower, you can put it inside. Obviously, I would probably leave the pockets out for those if that's what you want to use it for. I'm going to use it for my whips. Now, remember that the written pattern is down below, and I have a special event happening tomorrow. So make sure that you check that out. So obviously, this is a live event. So if you're watching this on the publication of this video, the live event happens tomorrow. So be sure to watch that. And if you're watching this as a replay, much later, doesn't matter how much later, then you can see the link right there. And if you want to watch the live event as a replay as well, because we're going to announce something really cool and really fun. You don't want to miss that. So be sure to check that out. If you have any questions, let me know, and I would love to see your pictures now. Remember to use the designated hashtag for this month's Crochet Tips Mystery Crochet Along. I would love to see your reversible baskets. So let me see 2 pictures, 1 on each side, so I can see how you flip things around. And if you added the special feature, I would love to see that too. Let me know how you like the pattern and if you loved all the tips and tricks that I provided to you. Was there something new? I love chatting with you and learning from your experience through my patterns. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time. Be sure to like, comment, and share this video. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell to get a notification next time I'm publishing a video or go live. Now go ahead and watch the next video. You're going to want to. I promise you do.